Imagine a town where the streets are empty, where houses, once filled with laughter and life, are now reduced to crumbling ruins. The air carries an eerie warmth, and smoke seeps from cracks in the ground, as if the earth itself is alive and angry. This is Centralia, Pennsylvania, a town with a story so bizarre, so haunting, it feels like a plot ripped straight from a dystopian novel. But it's real. And the question that still lingers decades later is this: how does a town vanish, swallowed by the very ground it stands on? The story begins in the early 1960s. Centralia was an unassuming town, nestled in Pennsylvania's coal country. It wasn't a bustling metropolis, but it had everything a community needed. A church at the heart of the town, small businesses lining the streets, and generations of families who called it home. Beneath the town, though, lay its lifeblood and eventually its downfall. A labyrinth of coal mines rich with anthracite coal. For over a century, the coal industry sustained Centralia. But as time would tell, those mines held a secret that would turn this thriving town into a ghost story. Memorial Day weekend, 1962. The town council had a simple task: clean up the local landfill to prepare for the upcoming parade. It seemed routine. They decided to set the trash on fire, a common practice at the time, and let it burn out. But this time, the fire didn't go out. It crept into an unsealed opening of an abandoned coal mine, igniting the anthracite veins below. It was an accident so mundane that no one could have predicted it would lead to the end of their town. At first, the fire seemed manageable. Efforts were made to extinguish it, but no one realized the extent of the danger. The fire spread underground, traveling through the maze of coal seams beneath Centralia, feeding on the very resource that had once brought prosperity to the town. Days turned into weeks, and the fire refused to die. Residents began to notice odd phenomena. Patches of earth grew hot to the touch, and steam reeked of sulfur. Some thought it was a minor inconvenience, something that modern engineering would soon fix. Others began to feel an unsettling dread. By the 1970s, the fire was no longer just an underground nuisance. Sinkholes opened unexpectedly, swallowing backyards and sending plumes of smoke into the air. Children playing outside would suddenly feel the ground shift beneath their feet, as if warning them to stay away. Carbon monoxide levels spiked dangerously high. People began to get sick. The earth, it seemed, had turned against them. Then came 1981, a turning point. A young boy named Todd Dombrowski was playing in his grandmother's backyard when the ground suddenly gave way. He plunged into a sinkhole, 150 feet deep, the sides of the hole steaming with toxic gas. By sheer luck, Todd grabbed hold of a tree root and managed to pull himself to safety. But the incident was a wake-up call. Centralia was no longer safe. The ground beneath their feet, once their foundation, was now their greatest threat. The state of Pennsylvania stepped in, launching investigations and proposing solutions. Millions of dollars were spent in an attempt to extinguish the fire. Trenches were dug, and slurry walls were built. But the fire was relentless, spreading faster than the efforts to contain it. Experts calculated that the fire could burn for another 100 years or more. The government made a grim decision. Centralia could no longer exist. In 1984, they initiated a massive relocation effort. Residents were offered buyouts to leave their homes, and most accepted, though not without heartbreak. Imagine leaving behind not just a house, but a lifetime of memories. A community that felt like family. By the end of the decade, most of Centralia's population was gone, leaving behind a handful of residents who refused to leave, clinging stubbornly to the town they loved. Today, fewer than 5 people remain in Centralia. The streets are overgrown with weeds, and nature has reclaimed much of what the townspeople left behind. The fire still burns a slow, smoldering reminder of the town that once stood there. Visitors come to see what's left. A few empty buildings. The iconic stretch of graffiti-covered highway known as Graffiti Highway. And of course, the wisps of smoke rising eerily from the ground. But Centralia is more than just an abandoned town. It's a cautionary tale about human hubris, about how something as seemingly simple as burning trash can spiral into a disaster of unimaginable proportions. It's a reminder that the earth is not just a resource to be mined and exploited. It's a force, unpredictable and unforgiving. And yet, Centralia is also a story of resilience. The few who remain refuse to let go, even as their town crumbles around them. They tend to the cemeteries, ensuring that the memories of those who lived and died here are not forgotten. They carry on, despite the odds, as if defying the fire itself. As we end this journey into the story of Centralia, one thing is clear. The town may have disappeared from the maps, but its legacy lives on. It's a place that captures the imagination. A town where the earth burns and the air whispers of a past that refuses to fade.